Today we're going to talk about the brand new GeeKom A8. This is an up to Ryzen 9 processor type of a mini PC that provides us a lot of power in a small form factor, making it small, portable, and functional at the same time, and provides us a lot of inputs and outputs, and not only that, up to 2 terabytes of storage and up to 64 gigs of dual channel RAM. This is TK. Let's go ahead and check out all of the new features in the GeeKom A8. Like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos for you on the channel. So what I have in front of us is the actual box itself. It's pretty straightforward. This is the GeeKom A8. Again, this configuration, the A8 series, is pretty much a Ryzen configuration. There's 2 versions of it, a Ryzen 7 and a Ryzen 9. So the configuration that I have here is the A8, the Ryzen 9 8945HS. There's again the Ryzen 7 8845HS. This is also featuring 32 gigabytes of dual channel RAM, and you're able to go all the way up to 64. The configuration obviously you'd have to be purchased, or you have to upgrade both the sticks that we have built in here. The M.2 SATA drive that we have in here is up to 2 terabytes, and again, this is one of the configuration you're able to customize it depending on what your needs. So as far as what we get in the box, we have an HDMI male-to-male cable. It gives us the ability of connecting our PC to a TV or a monitor. We have the screws to be able to support the VESA mount that we have included, so they include the plate for us. Instruction manual information here. We also have a power cable, and of course, last but not least, is the power brick. And this one actually connects via the little, basically the barrel connector on the back to the PC itself. And as far as the I/O, we have quite a few options. We have 2 USB-C ports, type A in the front with a headphone jack, a power button. On the left side of the unit itself, we have the air intake section, as well as a basically an SD card option. There's no micro, so this one's going to work great for SD transfer. And if you have an adapter, obviously the micro will work with that. On the other side here is pretty much just another intake. You'll notice that's where the grill is. And on the back, we have the basically exhaust fan that's positioned on top of the rest of the I/O options that we have. The power connector connects here on the bottom. We have 2 HDMI ports to connect, obviously 2 monitors there. And we're also able to use the USB-C options to connect up to 4 monitors entirely. We have a full Ethernet port connected here in the back that gives us the ability of getting basically some of the fastest options in here. And of course, another USB type A and another USB type here. This is USB type A, super speed, as well as the standard USB type A. So in all, we have 2 USB-Cs, 4 USB-As, 2 HDMIs, and a power connector and an Ethernet port, providing us a lot of options to be able to use this on almost anything. And the fact that it's so nice and small, if you could pair this with, let's say, a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard, you can take this with you when you travel and connect it to almost any hotel TV and get yourself a full functioning PC on the go. As far as what we get in here, the configuration, as I mentioned to you guys, is the R9 model that I have. And that was the 8945HS. As far as the maximum speed, it tops up at 4 gigahertz. It has 8 cores, 16 threads with 16 megabytes of cache. And the Ryzen 7 configuration runs the 8845HS up through basically 3.8 gigahertz, 8 cores, 16 threads, and 60 megabytes of cache. So very similar to what we have. Both are going to be supported with the Radeon 780M. So we have built-in graphics in here, dedicated graphics for this. And of course, we're supporting the dual channel RAM that we have built into this. As far as the storage that we have in here, we have a 2 terabyte SSD that's going to be an Acer drive, similar to what we saw with the A7 last year. And as far as the actual RAM, it's a Crucial RAM, 2 sticks of 16 gigabytes on the model that I have, but you're able to go all the way up to 64. As long as you're matching them, you should be pretty fine, and again supports DDR5 RAM. It is going to be coming in with Windows 11 Pro. One thing to mention, that if you do decide to open it up, keep in mind that the Wi-Fi antenna that is connected on the bottom here is connected to the bottom plate, so when you're removing it, just be mindful of the actual cable. And of course, you're able to remove the additional plate beneath that so that you can access the RAM and the SSD. They're definitely easy to swap and easy to remove. The Ethernet port that we have in here supports gigabit Ethernet. This is going to be very nice. Wi-Fi 7 support, of course, LAN, Kensington lock in case you want to be able to do some protection there. And as far as the power supply here, we're using a 19-volt power supply adapter that provides us up to 120 watts. One of the main reasons I like the mini PC form factor is that it offers us a lot of power in a very small form factor, meaning we can actually mount this behind our monitor or behind our TV, and this can easily become the center part of your entertainment system in the living room, or even actually as a full-fledged desktop experience. The reason behind that is the I/O that we have in here and the power connection that we have an option here provides us a very much desktop-like experience. The processors that we're looking here, if you go with the Ryzen 7 or the 9 series, you're not going to be disappointed. We have dedicated graphics with the 780M, which provides us the ability of playing even AAA titles like Call of Duty Mobile or even Fortnite, depending on your preference, in a very good frame rate. And one of the really nice things that we get in here is the ability of upgrading our RAM and storage that typically more of the smaller form factor mini PCs don't give us the option to. We have a full-size SD SD card there, so meaning if I'm, let's say, editing or shooting content like what we have in here, it's very simple for me to transfer that content onto the mini PC. And I did install CapCut to be able to test out some of the functionalities as far as rendering video. And one of the things that I really liked about the gaming experience here is literally all that was a portable monitor with the PC and a Bluetooth keyboard, although I had it connected wired, and of course a mouse. And I was able to actually play my games live in the living room, so I didn't have to be in my desktop experience. Now, Call of Duty worked great. I was able to play it very nicely. The monitor I was playing was capped at 60 frames per second, but the experience, I didn't notice any lag, any stutter. The Wi-Fi connectivity that I was using here is a MediaTek, Now, the Wi-Fi adapter that we have in here is a MediaTek adapter that provided me some of the best options. It did not have the fastest connection that I was able to see from previous generations, but this is again where the RJ45 connection in the back becomes very powerful for us, because you're able to connect it directly into your router and get the fastest speeds. When it comes down to performance though, it's going to really need to be tailored to what you need. If you're going to be editing a lot of content, I do recommend you probably putting a little bit more than 32 gigabytes of RAM. The 32 gigabytes DDR5 are dual channel and they work really good. Although depending on the editor that you're going to use, you may end up using most of that. And if you have any kind of Chrome or anything open in the background, you're going to run out of RAM pretty quickly. What we did here as far as the testing though is I installed CapCut as my editor, and I try to recreate as close as possible a timeline from a video that I produced not that long ago on a Xiaomi device. Now that worked really nicely. It's not going to win obviously render speed tests by any chance, but from the capabilities that we're getting in here, it's actually pretty decent what we're able to get out of this device. We have a fast SSD, we have fast RAM, and a fast enough processor to handle all of it, and dedicated graphics to support it. Now, one of the other games I tested on this obviously was Fortnite, and it worked exactly as I expected. The 780M is a very capable dedicated graphics in here, and I like the fact that we have that option on both the R7 or the R9. Depending on whichever one you go, it's really going to fit what you're looking for in the sense of capabilities, performance, upgradability, and what I like about it the most is I/O. Also, last but not least, is the fact that we can hide this and not actually have to really worry about it. Now, the capabilities that we're getting here, all of this is going to be cooled down with a built-in fan. This is not a fanless system. There is absolutely a built-in fan. The intake are going to be from the sides of the unit itself, and the outtake is going to be, or the exhaust is going to be at the top over the IOs. So position your wires when you're using them for an extended amount of time, especially if you're using all of the ports, to be more flush in the back so you leave the air take or the exhaust working very nicely. And depending on what you're doing, so when I was rendering video, playing Call of Duty, or even going into Fortnite, you could definitely hear the fan. It's not super loud. It is not going to be annoying. If you have it behind the TV or behind a monitor, you probably won't even hear it because of the game and all the sound that you're getting from the game experience there. I was only able to hear it because it was sitting next to my monitor initially when I was setting up the game and booting up. So I think overall, you're not going to be disappointed. So when it comes down to performance and what you should expect from this is, I would really compare this to what you'd expect from a laptop experience. The processor, the HS series, is typically what we see in Ryzen laptops, and the R9 that I got in here with the 32 gigabytes of RAM worked really nice. One little tip though, if you do decide to upgrade the RAM on this system, make sure that you match the pair that you're upgrading to. You don't want to have a 32 or a 16 and a 32. Try to get them to be the exact same so that when you're doing a dual channel RAM, it works at the same speed as well as the same configuration, so you're not missing out there. I think the Crucial drive that we have in here is one of the better options that they're able to put in there. Again, up to 2 terabytes that what we have here. If you do upgrade it, make sure you clone it and set it up correctly. But it's nice to see that it's small, it's portable, it's upgradable, and it's mountable because they also include the VESA mount. So again, very much a center type of an experience to anything that you want to use. And you are able to expand or add additional storage over the USB-C option to get some of the fastest transfer rates, which is what I ended up doing with my SanDisk drive here, because I actually was rendering content off of the SanDisk drive while connected on the unit itself. So it became very functional for me not to have to rely solely on the 2 terabytes built in. Although I feel like the 2 terabytes are very much big enough of storage to configure. But if you ever installed Call of Duty and over time, as you can imagine, you install a couple of games, you pretty much filled up that drive. This is why you should always have that option. And of course, one of the things that I love about GeeKom's capabilities is that you can tailor it to what you need. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My hope is that this provides you an option to consider if you're looking for a mini PC, or if you're looking to upgrade a PC but you are limited by space, because that's one of the biggest benefits here. They work with what you have and they're able to disappear if you don't want to see them. As long as you have good cable management behind the monitor, you're pretty much set. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much to GeeKom for sending me this unit to review and share with you guys my opinions. And at the end of the day, I will see you in the new video. And of course, at the end of the day, I will see you in the next video.